Tyler Perry is a CIA operative. I guarantee you he is. He is working. He's a sleeper cell. I guarantee you he's up to no good.
I'll go ahead and say this now so we can pop it off on the first
Mhm.
episode. I think musicals are the worst idea ever. Just listen to a freaking album.
They can't punch at the system. They can't punch at. But the closest thing that they have to put to take their aggression out on is the woman in the house, and
Yep.
it's unhealthy.
If you handed me a check right now for $100,000, I've never seen that much money in my life all at one time. So what are you going to do with people who've never touched that type of money? That you know what's going to happen. So it's predatory.
On the heels of Men's Mental Health Month, I'm not going to tell you you need therapy. I'm going to say you deserve therapy. All right, pull up a chair, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Porch Light Theory, where we have unfiltered conversations, but sometimes it's necessary. And joining me right now is my co-host, Nick Chadford Harris. It's my brother right here, and I'm Tristan Hardy. This is our first episode. We're just going to knock this one out of the way. I'm so excited for this journey that we're about to take on, bro. Nick, go ahead and talk to the people real quick.
Oh, yeah, welcome everyone to the first episode of the Porch Light Theory. We hope this is a journey for everyone, it's including ourselves. We're growing within ourselves as young men that are minorities, but also feel as though if with everything that's going on in the world right now, if you don't say something, then you're complicit with a lot of what's going on. So this is just kind of our platform to be able to say that, we did our part to ensure that when people look back on history, people are fully aware of what side, we stayed on when it came to our opinions and also the actions that we take with it. Because, everyone has an opinion, but not everyone's taking actions.
Absolutely. It's nice to show people that there are people within our community that don't have these strange thought processes and whatnot, because it's so easy to fall into a slippery slope. And so I want the audience, I want you to keep in mind that, yes, this is our first episode. We're just now starting. We are artists and we're sensitive about our stuff. Okay. But I want you to just enjoy the journey as you come along with us. Right off the bat, bro, people have been screwing up, specifically black men, us,
Talk to them,
and I see it.
What's going on?
I see it on the news all the time, bro. I mean, from Tory, DDG, to Tyler Perry, and the most recent Diddy. And it's disappointing to see prominent, black men in our community screwing up, just making us look bad. Have you caught up on the latest on this Diddy trial and the results?
I'm too old to try to keep up with some of that stuff when it comes to the Diddy trial. When it comes to celebrity trials, I'll say that is hard for me to try to keep up with, just because I know there's so much terrible propaganda around it. When you already have to deal with political propaganda on a day-to-day basis, it's like, do I have time for stuff that's more than not inconsequential in my life? If what happens, because let's say, because the biggest thing I was appalled by was just the amount of celebration when the verdicts came out and all that. I was just like, you see women in their church fits out there in front of the thing, dudes shirtless getting baby oil poured on them. I'm just like,
Pouring baby oil on themselves.
bro, we have to be a better representation upon ourselves for things like this, because maybe it's just because in the media, of course, we're already viewed in a certain way, and the way that we're portrayed is a certain way. Because I don't know, maybe they were like this when I don't know what's his name, the one that had Johnny Depp had that big trial. Maybe they were out there shaking, what, and doing the Watusi and the Piggly Wiggly or whatever whenever he got freed. I don't
The
know.
Piggly
But
Wiggly.
for us, they always are going to show when we are at our most ignorant. And I just think we gotta do a better about not always displaying that. But to say all that, just to say, no, I have not kept up with that trial. That stuff has. I'm at the point where it's like, is he going to jail or not? If he is,
He
cool. If he's
might.
not, leave me alone. I heard.
He
I
might go to
heard. So
jail.
Catch me up on it. I'm not too familiar with it.
Yeah, fortunately, your brother is a former TV news reporter. So the information I'm about to give you is strictly is directly from NBC. So
Okay. Primary source. Good to know.
yeah, absolutely. One thing's for certain: when you're listening to this podcast, you're going to be well informed. I'm not just gonna go off the cuff at any old time, and I'm not going to talk about things that I don't know. You know, there was a Wiz Khalifa song on Cushion Orange Juice, and the guest rapper said, "If you speak it, you don't know it, and if you know it, you don't speak it." So I'm not going to talk about things that I don't know. But here's what we do know so far: he was facing 5 charges.
Hmm.
He was acquitted for the most serious ones, which was racketeering conspiracy. But was convicted of 2 charges. He was guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. So he could face 20 years in jail. He could face 20 years because that's 10 years max each of those 2 counts. But he could also get out in, let's say, 1 to 5 years. I'm not going to say funny, but one of the things that
Yes.
happened during the trial is that when he was getting when he was getting acquitted, this man fell to his hands and knees and he was telling his family, "I'm coming home, baby. I'm coming home." I don't know if that's going to happen.
I mean, it
I
just
don't
shows
know.
to the degree at which he's taking it serious. But I'm also a proponent of whenever we start seeing celebrities start doing that, oh, I'm all about love and doing this whole rebrand after being basically wild majority of their career. I'm like, oh, they know something's coming up. They got to do the rebrand basically for their own conscience or stuff like that. So I figured something was coming down the line with Diddy. I was like, and that was before the Cat Williams stuff. It just, that whole the way he moves and then the way that he prospers, but others around him seldomly are
Hmm.
elevated, it's always made me kind of have a weird eye at him. So I would say that action of him falling to his knees is very indicative of the person I've always believed him to be.
Now,
Like,
I'm not gonna rank on the dude for being a freak nasty. That's not he wasn't on trial for being Mr. Freak Nasty. They were trying to slap the Rico on that dude. One of the things that bothered me as we learned through this trial
mhm.
was the mistreatment of Cassie. And we saw it. We saw it when when the video leaked, and you see literally kicking the shit out of her, and she's on the ground, not moving, and he's dragging her back. I saw that hotel video. I don't know if you saw it, bro, but
Oh no, I did.
it was so disappointing. But at the same time, it's like I'm not surprised because that's something that people have talked about. People have talked about it.
Yeah, for sure.
The way he treated Cassie music wise, he had her sign this contract, a 10 album deal contract. Cassie was like, what, 19, 20, 18, 19,
I
20?
had
That is so predatory. That is so predatory in the music industry. A 10 album contract?
I had the
She only put
same
out one.
conversation. I had the same conversation with my family. I was like, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not like we are from like like a huge rich past. So I phrased it to them like, hey, if you were Cassie's parents or any of these young parents, because I know a lot of times, and this goes into the R. Kelly situation as well too,
Mm-hmm.
where when we have these situations where there's predators obviously preying on young women where they find a way to victim blame without victim blaming, where they'll say, "Oh, well, what are the parents doing? Why are we persecuting the parents for this?" And things of that nature. And in my head, you got to think about it because not everyone has the means or knows what's going on. If the hottest artist at the time reaches out to you and your family is struggling, let's say both parents have to work jobs, they basically don't know how ends are gonna meet all the time. You get approached with something like that. Not saying it's right, but yeah, I see how parents can fall into letting their kids sign up for deals where if you handed me a check right now for $100,000, I've never seen that much money in my life all at one time. So what are you going to do with people who've never touched that type of money? That you know what's going to happen. So it's predatory. So I feel like all the blame should lie with the person that's preying on the person on that. Because I feel like that's what I saw a lot with the Cassie thing. They were just like,
Hmm.
"Oh well, why did she even take it? Why, what was her parents at? Why did they do this?" And it just kept it turning into more and more blame, especially when it goes into a lack of social studies where people don't understand how people that are in abusive relationships is not easy for them to leave, especially when you have someone as powerful as Diddy.
It blows my mind that this man has gotten away with so much in the music industry.
And we've always heard rumors of his parties. There's no way any of us thought that this man was, a well-to-do citizen at times.
You made a great point about talking when it comes to survivors and victims. The natural reaction is to ask, where were the parents in this situation, or why didn't she call 911? I've seen videos online where people after the trial were literally going head to head with each other, debating about, whether he was innocent or what he did was right or wrong or whatever. Folks
Hmm.
arguing, being a freak is not illegal. No, it's not. Being a freak is not illegal. What you do in the bedroom, that's your business. But there's a difference between pleasure and abuse. And what Diddy
Yes,
was
sir.
doing, that's straight up abuse, man. And you don't go out, you don't talk out the side of your neck and say, well, why didn't she call 911? Been If you've never been in a situation where you were mentally, physically, emotionally abused, then you will never understand. I've talked to women who have been abused during my time as a TV journalist. I've interviewed women who have been abused, and it it, it does something to you mentally when you experience someone hitting you. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Hitting someone who you're in a relationship with, that is not love. Blaming, like telling someone, why didn't you leave? Why are you questioning the victim? You should be questioning the person who is committing the harm. It's a natural reaction to question, how come the victim did this, or if I was in that situation, this wouldn't be me. It's
I
easy to
mean,
go that route. It's really easy to go that route. But
it's easy.
you should be paying attention to the one who is putting his hands on her.
True, because that goes into the whole thing of people don't understand how much stigma and shame plays a part into what keeps someone that's being abused from reporting. The fact that there is a subsect of our society that openly looks to not believe women in these type of situations. The fact that men's voices in our society typically are going to ring louder than women's. And when those men speak to these situations, then you notice, especially since we have an algorithm on a lot of social media platforms that are set to drive those that are getting interactions. So a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
people that are getting interactions are the people that are falling in line with that line of thinking when it comes to questioning them and wanting to be a part of it. Because while there are women and also men that are allies and there'll be supporters, there's going to be more traffic and engagement on those that are going against, trying to show support and things of that nature. And I think the fact that you get rewarded for engagement, no matter what type it is, to a certain extent, is what's also birthed a lot of, well, I won't say birthed. I would say it's added fuel to the fire to what we see in these situations to where abusers don't feel comfortable coming out because they feel that they'll be shamed. They won't be believed. They'll have to
Mm-hmm.
run through their traumas and their episodes again of what happened to them. So it's a lot that goes into it. And like you said, if you've never had to deal with that, especially as a man who is taught to not identify abuse in some of its most blatant types of examples. So that's where a lot of the issues come from, and it lingers on to kind of what you had picked up on as a point of how it's kind of like a pipeline to where this patriarchal obsession that men have right now with being masculine and doing all this extra to it's my favorite comment on social media. Why do men feel the need to always have to put women in their place? It's like that's like the
Come on now.
motif right now. It's like
Come on,
men
man.
really feel the need that I gotta put her in her place. Like they'll just see a woman, yeah, you may not agree with what she's doing, but why do you feel like you gotta be the one that calms her down or puts her in her place? Like, bro, come on now. All of us gotta
Why do
go
you have
home
the
and pay
desire to
bills.
want to put a woman in her place? Why? I don't
Exactly.
understand that.
Like that don't pay
I don't
your
understand.
bills unless you like DJ academics or something like that. Like unless you're one of these influencers that can sit around and bash women all day, like the Fresh and Fits of the world, then I can see why you do it. But there's a
Hmm.
lot of dudes that do it, and especially in the red pill space right now, in that manosphere space, that they'll do it and then get mad when they're getting no play. I'm like, bruh, what you expect? How you expect to attract women, but you're doing everything to push them away?
You really thought talking shit about a woman is gonna get you laid?
And it's not saying you gotta sit out here and simp, but you gotta at least, and it goes back to the idea that I think that there's a lot of men that don't view women as people. They view them as objects or
Objects.
things to be able to use for fornication, and that's about it, and pleasure, and to be subservient to them. And I think that's where they get it from, but that's a different conversation for, especially within our community, how that's kind of been passed down. And I know there are certain things I had to defeat within my mindset when it came to it. So yeah, it's definitely an issue, I would say.
I was talking to my sister about it earlier today, and I expressed to her, hey, I had misogynistic thoughts during my adolescent days. I grew out of that. Some of the stuff that I thought was funny was never funny to begin with. Was never funny. What I want to do real quick is I want to bring back the point because one, all that you just talked about, it contributes to this gender war that's happening online or that's
Mhm.
happening between men and women. This calling Cassie a gold digger, put her on trial. She was subpoenaed, bro. She was asked federally to come to court.
And
She
what
didn't want
kills
to be
me,
there.
it'll be the
I
same
guarantee she did
dude.
not want to be there.
And it'll be the same dudes that do that. They'll be like, yeah, I can't stand Meg the Stallion. Da, da, da. I was like, go read what that case, who that case,
She's the victim. But in
like,
both
well, what
cases,
are we doing?
they're the victim. Like, I'm let fellas, I'm letting you know right now. If you think Diddy getting away, if you think this is a good thing, this is a win for black men, it's not. This was not a win for black men. This was not a win for black women. This was not a win for us at all. I'm letting you know right off the top. This is not a win for us. Right now, the judge denied him bail. So he's going to remain detained until his sentencing. And he will be sentenced this fall. The prosecutors, they are seeking a 4 to 5 year prison sentence, right? But he could get out in like 1 year. We don't know. Things are up in the air right now. While this is happening, I want to keep us grounded. At the end of the day, there was a victim,
Mhm.
multiple victims.
Mhm.
There were multiple victims in this situation. So don't let it become another meme. I know it's already become
Exactly.
a meme. I know this Diddy, the Diddler, the Diddy trial. I know this has already become a meme. The baby oil, all that stuff. I know it's become a meme, but don't let it metastasize into something more. Because at the end of the day, there was a victim in this situation, and she has to navigate life moving forward.
Like I hated that so much with a passion because you had I can't remember which artist it was, but he was basically on there making a butt of himself because he was on there talking about Cassie and I I can't remember exactly who it was, but I was like, yeah, I'm all the way put off. I didn't really care for him, but yeah, there's people seriously making jokes about it. And to reference what I was talking about earlier with the Meg Thee Stallion thing, if you look at the court
Mm-hmm.
docs, it is Daystar Peterson versus State of California.
Daystar.
Can't blame Megan. Daystar.
Daystar.
You should go look up what his dad's name is.
What is his dad name? What's his dad?
Look it up. Look it up. Man's whole lineage is hilarious. But no, the state can take up these cases. So the whole thing about, oh, why is she suing him and did no, the state brought that up. But he also had his own ways out. But yes, just so because I knew you were just in case it took you a minute to look it up. His dad's name is Sunstar Peterson.
Sunstar.
Sonstar.
Gosh, Pokemon. Your name is a Pokemon, bro. You went
And
from
bro got a
Daystar and you evolved into Sunstar.
And bro got
You're a
like the
Pokemon.
most Beijing looking hairline I've seen, or he got that thing tatted on. I don't know which one because I've seen dudes get their hairline tatted, but that thing was he was sweating and that thing wasn't moving. I was like that makes no sense. But yeah, I lost track of where I was.
No, no. At the end of the day,
He's still a victim at the end of
there's
the
a
day.
victim. There's a victim in this situation. I encourage you to not let this metastasize or grow into something bigger because we saw how the memes came from R. Kelly. We saw those
Hmm.
memes. Dave Chappelle made jokes out of it, and we knew he was pissing on folks. We knew he was doing it, and we
Hmm.
laughed at it. But at the end of the day, there was a victim in that situation.
Multiple.
Another thing I do want to bring up because this was a domestic, this was a violent situation. So I do want to put this out here, bro. If you or someone who you know has experienced or is experiencing violence at home, there is help. Help is available. You can call this number 800-799-7233. That's domestic violence hotline. If you can't call, you can text a number. You can text begin at 88788. There is help. Help is available for you. You are not alone. You are seen, you are heard. And what you are experiencing is not normal, it's not right. It is not normal to put your hands on someone you love. That is not love. That was never love to begin with. Putting your hands on someone is not love. Calling them out their name, that's not love. Abusing them mentally is not love. Making them feel less than a woman, it's not love. It's not, and me just saying this, it's not simping. It's not pandering. Let's call it for what it is. That was wrong. Straight up.
Very. And for those that are aware of people that are abused or see signs of
Mm-hmm.
abuse, remember to educate yourselves on those signs of abuse as well. Sometimes it's not always implicit. Sometimes it's not always going to be right in front of you. So you have to sometimes be perceptive of others, and maybe someone's acting differently. Maybe someone's trying to hide something. Maybe someone's avoiding interactions and things of that nature. Sometimes you just got to listen to people as well just to hear what they're really trying to say or what they're not trying to say as well. Stay connected with people, especially if you just have a feeling. And also educate yourself on the resources that are available to them as well as you, but also you must respect their choices at the end of the day. That's a big part of it as well. Some people will get deterred with trying to support those that are being abused because they continue to make the same decisions over and over, but you have to respect their choices while still finding a way to support them while finding that balance for yourself. Because I know it can be a lot to ask to support someone while still having issues of your own, but it means a lot, and you never know how much your support can go to help someone.
Absolutely. Some of the things that you need to look out for when it comes to domestic abuse. Obsessive behavior. This is according to somersetdomesticabuse.org. You can go on it, and these are some of the abusive behavior in unhealthy relationships. One, obsessive behavior. This type of behavior is when a person feels like they need to be in constant contact with you. That can include phone, text, direct message. They may feel overwhelming, and that could be a sign that things are becoming too intense. Possessiveness, that's another sign of abuse. Manipulation, guilting. This form of manipulation is when you're made to feel responsible for their actions. They may also feel pressure. They may pressure you into doing things that you don't want to do by convincing you that it will hurt their feelings. I'm telling you, that's not love. Belittling. That includes behaviors that are carried out to try and make you feel bad about yourself. They'll sabotage the relationship. You know, that includes spreading rumors about you in order to break your relationship with others to damage your reputation. When people do this, they're meticulous about this type of stuff. They plan it
Very.
out. They have a controlling behavior. They have a responsibility deflection. This is a good one. This includes regularly blaming you or someone else for their own actions. This behavior can also mean blaming the behavior on drugs, alcohol, mental health, or insecurity left from a previous relationship. Betrayal. When a person is in a relationship consistently and they consistently lie or act in intentional dishonest way, this might include lying to other people about you or sharing sensitive information about you, cheating or being disloyal. Those are signs of abuse in a relationship. I need you to be on the lookout for that type of stuff. Be on your P's and Q's. I guarantee you know somebody. You know somebody who's doing one of those things. And fellas, if you know someone that is showing the signs, the 10 signs of an unhealthy relationship, you need to check them. You need to check them. You need to check
And
that, bro. You need to check that man.
that goes to a bigger problem I feel as well, especially when it comes to the idea of accountability. And it kind of goes back to what we just said, where there's a lot of men that feel like they want to hold women accountable, but we don't hold ourselves
That's
accountable
their
to the
favorite word.
extent that, like, there's been times where I'm just sitting there in the barbershop where, in the past, especially when we were out there in East Texas, a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
dudes there, especially depending upon times you grew up in, where you grew up in as well, they're going to have certain preconceived notions about how things should go. And there's a lot of times where I'm just sitting in there, and then when I'm challenging certain things, like, man, I just got home from work. And the granted, dude works like he worked at, what was it? What was that thing? Pilgrim's Pride, that chicken processing plant. He wasn't even
Mm-hmm.
really working full time, working part time.
Blue collar.
Yeah,
Blue
I
collar.
only know that I only know this because he telling his whole life story while we all waiting in line to get cut. And he goes through about how his old lady basically ain't cooking, ain't doing all this and that. And I'm just like, well, in my head, I'm like, well, maybe she's tired. Maybe she got things to do. And then he's like, yeah, man, she worked over at E-Tech. She could have been at home by then. I get off, and then she ain't doing nothing. I'm just like, man, she worked too. You think she don't want to come
I
home?
want to do nothing when I get home too.
Like,
Damn it.
I know the call center life. Y'all working pretty much the same hours, if her not more. So why don't you try to help and meet the halfway? But also, that's like the expectations that a lot of men have. But because that's what they've learned growing up, like, hey, now I don't care what it is, whether I'm contributing, whether I'm bringing enough to the table to make her comfortable to be wanting to do that. Now, there's a lot of dudes that have that sense that, but I say all that to finish the story, basically to say that at some point I just asked, like, why do you have these expectations for one that's someone that's not even you're not even married to? Like, that's my
Mm-hmm.
big thing. Why you got these wifely expectations of someone that you're not even making a wife yet? But it's like it's nice if someone can do that. I've had that in my past where in relationships, you know, if I'm at work and she's sitting at the crib and all that, she's gonna help out and do everything to make my day easier. But that's not an expectation because we're not married. But yeah, this sometimes dudes blow my mind when it comes to pause how they have these expectations of women and things of that nature. But it's like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
for one, you can do all that for yourself. But it boggles me because I have majority women in my family. So a lot of times they tell me about how these dudes are acting. I'm just like, that is wild. These dudes are, you could tell whose mama's mama them too much.
You say you raised by, you have a lot of women in your family. I have 3 younger sisters.
I got majority women in
And
my family.
yeah, I have 3 younger sisters. So the point I'm trying to make is I'm not trying to say how would you feel if this was your sister, if this was your mom, if this was your auntie. You should care because they're a
That's
human
a
being.
human being.
But absolutely. What keeps me grounded is the fact, and I'm so glad I'm blessed that I have 3 younger sisters. So sometimes I set the example and I am the example. But one thing that I will not be an example of is how to not treat a lady. That's the one thing I will pride myself on is how to not make a woman feel insecure or belittle her. If anything, having a woman in your life, especially a black woman, hello ladies, hello black women, that's a blessing. And you out here doing her dirty. Again, that's not love. It's not love. You don't love her if you are doing that.
Not at all.
You don't love her if you are putting your hands on her. You don't love her.
That's what
What do
really
you
throws me
gain? What
off.
what 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 do you gain from that? I'll tell you what I think they gain from it, bro. Power.
Yeah.
Power.
And
Absolutely.
I've never understood how you can be okay with that. There's been times where I can understand where I've had homeboys who get upset. And yeah, I've been upset, but I've never been to the point to where it's like, yeah, let me put my hands on her. It's like, for
That's
one,
weird.
that's a lack of emotional intelligence, I would say. Like
Hmm.
but I feel like there's so much that goes into it when it comes to people that have that much anger. But that's a touchy subject. That's a tough one.
It's touchy. It's touchy. And you know what? We started off this episode swinging. Yeah, it's a power play. If you think it's okay to treat a woman like that, it's a power play. And you know what? There was this discussion, this old like one-on-one discourse between Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. And they were having like this serious conversation about how when a black man comes home from work, the black woman is expecting the love, the smile, the warm embrace from him. She's saying, I'm expecting, and I'm paraphrasing this conversation. She's saying, I want the smile, I want the love, I want I want the warm embrace of a black man. I want you. But she's not getting that from him because he's been beat up, ridiculed. He's had to put on a mask
Mhm.
to work in a predominantly white environment, and he doesn't get to be himself. So
Yeah, that
when he
code
comes home,
switch.
he's defeated.
That code
And
switch is tiring. I'm not gonna lie.
absolutely.
As a corporate black man,
Hmm.
it is mentally draining on a daily basis having to constantly be aware that you're black in spaces.
Being a black
Like,
face in a white space is challenging.
I wouldn't even say in a white space because mine is mixed because,
Hmm.
I work in a very diverse area, but it's more so, I think the corporate culture and structure is to a certain extent, I don't want to say anti-black, but it is very conservative, not in the political sense, but it's conservative in the way that you're expected to express yourself. It is very regimented in how they expect cadence is supposed to go. Like
Hmm.
I know it's a joke right now about the lingo that everyone uses in corporate, like, oh hey, we're gonna circle back. What are your KPIs looking at? Like and all that. And it's just so it's like no,
It's draining.
I talk about it with my friends sometimes, and it's like, bro, I love getting out of work for the simple fact that if you leave, like I love the area I work in because I can just leave and go be around regular people and have genuine interactions. Because to a certain extent, there's certain people at work that I definitely have that with. In case they
Hmm.
see this, yeah, there's people I have genuine interactions with. But there's so many times where you're just doing the dance. You're just going through the oh hey da, da,
Playing
da,
the
da, da.
game.
Yeah, it's like when can you get a genuine interaction out of someone? And that's something I appreciate about working with certain people and then also getting away. But I definitely agree with the premise that you're proposing too, because there's been times in the past where, let's say, talking to someone and they'll be like, dang, can you not just not sound like you're at work? Like, can you cut off the HR speak? And it's
Bro, trust me, I've
hard,
experienced
bro.
that too.
Bro,
They'll say
it's tough.
you sound like a reporter. I'm sorry.
But it's like, bro, it's
I
tiring.
can't get that out of my system. I can't.
For minimum 8 hours, I'm having to put on this persona all the time.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't sound like this at work. Like at work, it's more, hey guys, yeah, we gotta go ahead and get this stuff done and da da da.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
But you see what you did? You found a healthy outlet. You found people who you can relate to and take off that mask with.
Oh yes.
There are men out here who don't know how to handle that type of pressure, that type of environment. It builds up resentment, it builds up anger. That weighs heavy. That can weigh heavy on a man, especially a black man or a person of color. And so they can't punch at the system. They can't punch at. But the closest thing that they have to take their aggression out on is the woman in the house. And it's unhealthy. That's a reality for some men nowadays.
Man,
They can't punch at the system. They can't punch the CEO. They can't do that. And the closest person who can catch this heat is the person who's supposed to love me.
but then where does that lie on the spectrum of those that because let's extrapolate that out to a bigger idea and say that,
Hmm.
hey, that situation, let's say that there are now 100 black men going through that exact same situation. How
Hmm.
much does the conversation we are having right now lend to the idea that women, black women especially, would not want to deal with that? And who blames them? Why would you want to deal with that?
I don't blame
How
you.
much does it lead to the divide within our culture between both sides when it comes to black men and black women? Because I grew up with a bunch of those black men that, and sad to say, I still see, especially in this younger generation, a lot of black men that do the whole, "Yeah, I could never date a black woman. I could never," like it's if it ain't snowing, I ain't going. All that stuff. And how much do you think some of that lends itself to that? Because there's men out there that don't know how to regulate their emotions. They don't know how to properly analyze why something worked, why something didn't work. And then that leads to them going down the path of, well, all black women are just bad.
Yeah, you can't do that. On the heels of Men's Mental Health Month, I'm not gonna tell you you need therapy. I'm gonna say you deserve therapy. I've been
See
in
that?
therapy for the past 3 to 4, going on 4 years. The Tristan who I am now, and my therapist can tell you, the Tristan from 20, uh, 2022, 2023 is not the same Tristan that I am now.
I
It's a
agree.
wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling when your own therapist can tell you that she has seen growth. And out of all of her clients, and a side note, by the way, my therapist is a black woman. I feel more comfortable talking to black women about my mental health. Maybe one day I'll find a black male therapist, but as of now, I love my therapist. We talk quarterly. It used to be, I kid you not, bro. It used to be like every like 2 to 3 weeks, and then it went monthly. And now I'm at a point where I'm comfortable to do it like once every 3 months. You deserve a healthy space. You deserve a healthy outlet, to express yourself. I encourage you to find
So
other ways to, yeah, I encourage you to find other ways to express yourself. Healthier outlets to express yourself. You want to take a break real quick, bro? Yeah,
I'm chill.
let's take, yeah, 1 second. All right, we back. That was a tough conversation, but we started this stuff swinging. I
Got
didn't
you.
mean to swing that hard. But you know what? Yeah, is it not clocking to you that I'm standing on business? I don't know if you saw that video of Justin Bieber talking to the paparazzi like that. Is it not
Yeah, I
clocking to
saw
you that
that.
I'm standing on business?
I saw it. It didn't. That didn't register with me. I was just like, oh, this man's really going through it. These people need to leave him
He's
alone.
going that man is going through it. He's
They need to
most
leave
definitely
that man
going through it.
alone. Like, what is he? That's conversation for a different day. But I'm just like, who employs the paparazzi?
I don't know the ins and outs of paparazzi. I think that's a contract job in my opinion. So
It's got to
the
be.
fact that TMZ is now a breaking news source, do you not find that problematic?
The fact that they are a library for public case records is freaking crazy to me. But whatever.
I have a one-sided beef with Tyler Perry. One-sided. Tyler Perry is a CIA operative. I guarantee you he is. He is working. He's a sleeper cell. I guarantee you he's up to no good. And the reason why I say he's up to no good is because his movies are not that good.
And who they ever been?
His recent work, Divorce in the Black, Beauty in the Black, and Straw, can't do it.
I mean,
I watched I watched Divorce in the Black.
the best thing you didn't get that STD from what's that? You got it from Walter. Walter?
Boom!
I ain't gay. Best thing he ever
Boom!
made. Ever.
One of the funniest. That's one of the funniest things.
Why are you so evil?
Why did I get married?
Yeah,
That 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 was that,
best thing he's
bro.
ever made in life, ever. Until this day, I remember
The,
watching that. My parents,
the fact that she went boom.
you just see, that was some of the best acting. That was some of the best acting in the movie when you see him just get the anger build up and we just.
You evil woman. Why are you so evil? Gosh.
I hope to never
See,
get that old to have my group of friends have our group trip ruined like that. Everyone left that table upset.
you may just got a drive. to the
I was so
cabin.
upset. How dare they do Jill Scott like that? I love Jill Scott with
Don't
all
you
my
dare
heart.
treat get stop playing with Miss Scott.
Jill
Okay.
Scott too good of a woman for that to happen to her.
She did not deserve that. She did not deserve that
The
treatment. And
honorable
Buddy
Miss
Boy took
Jill.
a flight. Homeboy took a flight. Didn't he take his side piece with him or something like that? I need to rewatch that movie.
I'm not rewatching that movie. I'm not giving that man no more of my money.
You know what?
Because
I'm just gonna
I'm
watch it on
also not paying
YouTube.
for BET Plus. Ever since what was it? Comcast or Viacom bought out BET, I have not given them any
Hmm.
money. That's when the BET Awards started to get whack. It started going down year after year. I think that buyout was, I don't know, early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Hmm.
Yeah. When did that happen? Paramount Global bought them in 2000.
I
Yeah, in
can't.
2000 Viacom bought them. Then they started going down.
I cannot watch. I can't. I can't. The only reason why I at this point I'm hate watching. The only reason why I hate watch Tyler Perry products is because I
Mhm.
am holding on to hope that this one is going to be good.
I
Or,
don't know
but
why.
then when I see, but when it proves me wrong, then I'm like, okay, I'm here to talk shit about this movie.
That's like looking at a
The way
turd on the ground and expecting it to become something different than turd.
it's insanity, man.
It
You
really
do the
is. I
same
don't know
thing
why
over
you're
and
putting
over again,
yourself through that.
expecting different results.
That is a
It's a good laugh,
trash
but
way to do it.
it's
Like my
it's
ex used
it's
to get mad. My ex used to get mad because I would purposely watch bad horror movies. But I knew what I was getting with that, and that's why I appreciate bad horror movies. You choosing to watch Tyler Perry movies expecting something good is basically you sitting there saying, "Oh, I want my hair to lock, but I never
I'm not
locked it."
expecting a good I'm not
I don't want to
expecting a
hear it.
good
I
Tyler
don't want
Perry
to hear it.
production.
I don't want
I'm
to
not
hear
expecting it.
it. You
I'm
keep
hate
giving
watching
this
it.
man your views for what? To expect something better. What's it gonna do? Change your heart? What you gonna do? All of a sudden become a nice gardener out of nowhere and become reformed or something? Nigga, you're already almost a
That
good person. You might as well just go ahead and lean into that. Tyler Perry movies can't teach you nothing about being a good man. What they gonna do? Teach you how to get a bad haircut, and then all of a sudden learn how to treat women right? Like he shouldn't be talking to you like that. No, duh.
Yeah, and don't forget that you need to love you some Jesus too. I'm a good man. I have a blue collar job, and I love me some Jesus. Oh, I love you so much, Mr. Light Skinned Gardener.
But they did us so wrong by getting rid of the Boondocks so early because it really predicted how much is going wrong in our culture. They finally
He
popping
did. He
fireworks over here.
Yeah. So
In case people don't know, we're filming on 4th of July.
yeah, his most recent movie, I did not watch. Straw. It looked like trauma on top of trauma. That movie was basically about what if a black woman had a bad day, and it went from worse to worser.
I would not
I don't know
watch
if y'all
that.
know that. I don't know if y'all know that meme or not. It went from worse to worser.
I wouldn't watch that at all.
The movie, like everyone, I kid you not. I remember seeing the discourse about how this movie is not good. This movie is trauma porn, and
Basically.
then the discourse goes from trauma porn to a meme where now even families outside of the black community are watching Straw to and the kids are capturing the moment when their family sees the plot twist towards the end of the movie. I can't do that. I'm not watching Straw. I watched Divorce in the Black with Megan Good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That movie that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Megan Good, great actress,
You could say
wrong production.
you could even say she's good.
Megan Good is a great actress. She's a good actress. Wrong production. Wrong story to be a part of.
I wouldn't
Taraji
say
P. Henson,
say nothing wrong about any of that. You know why?
tell me.
'Cause that check cleared.
Here we go. Here we go. Taraji P. Henson is a phenomenal actress.
Hmm.
Hidden Figures.
Oh yeah, one of her best works ever.
She played that role to the T. I love that movie. I mean, she even did Color Purple. I'm not a musical person, but I can acknowledge when a movie is good.
I'll go ahead and say this now so we can pop it off on the first episode. I think musicals are the worst idea ever. Just listen to a freaking album. And it's going to sound hypocritical because I grew up in the
It sounds
106 in Park, MTV era, and all that. And you can just say, well, aren't music videos just musicals? No, because
Big difference.
I get this much acting, and then I get music the rest of the way, and it don't last more than 6 to 10 minutes at the most, and that's not counting R. Kelly Trapped in the Closet and all the anthologies from the early 2000s from when we did these big huge remixes and they made music videos on them. No, we're not
Mm-hmm.
talking about that. But no, a musical and a music video, not the same thing. But either way, all musicals trash.
Love them.
Yes, I can't stand musicals at all. You can't keep my attention to a lot of things. I do nothing but
Mm-hmm.
policy review for a good amount of my job. I can stay entertained through that. I can't stay entertained through a musical.
I don't even like musicals like
But you
that.
know me, I'm not a music person like that though.
Yeah.
Sounds weird to say, but I'm not a music person.
Mm-hmm. But like, here's the point that you made, because that check cleared. If I'm not mistaken, Taraji P Henson has said in the past that Tyler Perry has paid her the most of what
Mhm.
she's due, what she's owed. So yes, I'm glad that he sees the value of a phenomenal actress such as Taraji P Henson. You pay them their worth, because Taraji P Henson's pedigree speaks for itself. It definitely speaks for itself, and the fact that she has not gotten the pay that she deserves, that's problematic. But when you have someone like TP pay you the most to work on a shitty project, at what point do you say, is it worth it? I feel like it's a stain on her resume. But that's just my opinion. So there has been plenty of criticism towards Tyler Perry and how he has depicted black men. There's been
Mhm.
criticism on how he has depicted black women. He has faced criticism multiple times. And I think one of his most recent responses to that criticism was, well, these are just highbrow Negroes, who, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the direct quote in front of me right now. These are just highbrow Negroes. They hating, pretty much. You damn right I'm hating. I'm absolutely hating. I'm gonna continue to hate. I will always hate that. I'm always hate your movies, bro. Tyler Perry, his movies, his TV shows, he's always the director, he's always the writer, he's always the producer. Damn, man, give a nigga a break. Give someone a chance, please. How are you busting out a script in 2 weeks and then all of a sudden, out the wazoo, you get a Netflix deal? How'd you do that? Who did you contact? Stop doing that. Please stop. The movies are played out. It's one dimensional. Woman getting abused, darker skinned brother. He's saying stuff off the side of his neck that's crazy. Here comes Mr. Good Guy McGee. Sweeps her off her feet. And then there's like some scuttle or whatever. And then, they ride into the sunset. Well, Shorty rides into the sunset with Good Guy McGee. Then, same movie every time. It's played out. I'm tired of it, bro. I have a hot take. I said this off camera, but I'm gonna say it again. If you enter the Tyler Perry cinematic universe, you peaked. That's it. You peaked as an actor. You peaked as an actress. You're not going anywhere after that. You're locked into the TPCU. You're done. I don't know. There's like a handful of people who have worked with Perry and they've
Mhm.
done phenomenal things afterwards. Absolutely. But this man is pumping out multiple TV shows and they're getting weirder and weirder. They're getting freakier and freakier. Once you enter the Tyler Perry cinematic universe, you peaked. You're not going anywhere else.
You're not
That's
even
it.
peaking at that point, dude. You are at the bottom of the trough.
Once you enter the Tyler Perry cinematic universe, your only avenue is BET Plus, BET on the regular channel, and a couple of Tubi movies. I'm gonna toss in there. I expect better. You know what? Let me say this, Tyler.
If that's
You
even
had
your
a good
real
run.
name.
If that's your real name,
If that's even your real name,
yeah.
I wouldn't be
Tyler.
surprised.
You had a great run. Tyler, you had a great run, man. You had a great run. It's time to hire some writers. It's time. You're washed. You're cooked. You're done. It's time to hire some writers.
Could
Yeah. The black community expects better from you.
I don't.
I saw I saw Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, featuring Michael B. Jordan. Phenomenal movie. Loved it. I'm not expecting you to create Ryan Coogler material. These are two different avenues, right? But I expect your production in the future to be just hopefully step your game up, bro. I hope it's hey man, your work is not gonna be Ryan Coogler good. It's not. But I hope one
Never
day
know. You never
you
know.
never you never know. But I know this. The movies is trash, man. Them shows is trash,
All right,
man.
let's play devil's advocate for a little bit. What
Let's
about
play
what
devil's advocate.
then what do you say about the people that would see this and be like, well, his movies touched me. His movies, pause, his movies actually helped me in ways that I did not expect. The things that he was portraying in his movies helped me in life. What do you say to those people?
Hey, you are valid in your experiences.
No, you're not. You ain't gotta
Absolutely.
lie to these
Like you
people. If you taking that
no
much
no well,
inspiration from a Tyler Perry movie, that says more about you than it does about what we feel. If Tyler Perry is influencing your life that much, you've made some choices in your life that you should really reevaluate and see where you should go going forward. Like Tyler Perry should not that be much of an influence in your life.
Medea is a positive. You like Medea that much? You like Medea that much?
It
Wow.
was funny on like the original like stage plays and all that, but at a
Absolutely.
certain point, it was just like, all right, my guy, you just like putting a dress on. You know, just live your true king.
You're cooked, bro. I'm not even gonna call you bro. You're cooked. I expect better. But you know what? I hate watching your productions. I enjoy it. I need a reason to talk shit.
I don't.
I like talking shit about your movies. I really do.
Hey, in the comment section, let us know what y'all want to hear us talk about. We can get a little bit raunchier. We can get a little bit more conservative. We can get a little bit more political. It depends on what you want to hear. Tell us what
Yeah,
y'all want to hear at this point, because we have our own subjects, and then we can incorporate a segment in which we allow for us to address the things in the comments, allow the commenters to allow to for us to give voice to what y'all want us to speak to, especially
absolutely. We
if.
want you. We want you involved.
So you're
It's
just gonna
called
cut
the
off my
Porch Light
dialogue?
Theory for. My bad. I didn't mean to disrespect you, bro.
Man,
My
just go
bad.
ahead, go ahead and test my
I'll shut up,
gangster
bro.
like that, bro. I don't know how to feel about this, man.
Hey,
Hey
hey, man.
man,
It's
hey
all
man,
you.
hey man,
It's
hey
all you,
man, hey
man.
man.
It's all you.
I done lost my track. I don't, yeah.
I don't gang bang, man. I don't gang bang.
Me neither,
That's
because
all
we
you,
don't do
fam.
that. All right, I really did lose where I was at though.
But yeah, you're trying to get the audience involved.
But yes, definitely let us know what you would like to hear. We are here to, of course, as our pilot and as our launch, we do sensitive topics. We do funny topics. Doesn't matter. And we can do sports, entertainment, politics, whatever y'all want to hear about. We're not locked into anything. I don't know what this guy wants us to do, but I'll let him do it. Yes, you're on this side of me, so yeah.
It's called the Porch Light Theory for a reason because this is a space for us to talk, and you're more than welcome to join.
Or if you feel that you have something to say, depending upon what we said, you may have the chance to come up here and refute us against it. We don't run
Absolutely,
from smoke. We do not run from smoke. And I know there's going to be
I
some
embrace
smoke.
it.
I definitely know there's going to be some smoke from that crowd, especially how we mentioned red pill and being overly masculine. There's going to be a bunch of "Oh, well, y'all don't understand because y'all not manly. Da-da-da." It's like the manliest people I know are the complete opposite of what y'all portray to be. So we can go back and forth. I speak very much more loosely. Tristan's going to
Mm-hmm.
speak more based on data and things of reasoning, but don't think
Mm-hmm.
we can't come with the facts and all that. We play a role, but don't think we're not informed on what we're saying. We're not out here simping. Like you just heard, he's got a girl. Ain't none of us sitting here hurting for nothing. So that there
We
is a
straight.
the fact that there's a movement out there of dudes that think that if you treat women with respect, you're simping. Yeah, man, dude, learn to see who gets it and who don't.
Hey, real quick, bro. I always thought when I hear simping, I always took that as someone who is doing the most to try and get a woman's attention. Or has that definition changed?
I mean, that's what it meant to me.
That's how I took it.
I say that as someone whose Twitter name in college was simping for no hoes.
That's
That
how I
was a
took it.
terrible time.
Yeah. I thought simping was you are doing the most. You starving to try and get a woman's attention. When did it change to starving for a woman's attention to pandering or advocating for women? How did that change? And when did that change? I don't know.
When the lames became louder than the real.
I'm gonna leave the audience with this quote. It takes one person to do it, but it takes another to let them. Bars. It takes one person to act stupid, to say something out of pocket and talk out the side of their neck and indulge in this red pill BS. But Nick and I, we're not gonna let it happen. There are men out here who do not think and act the way this whole red pill movement, this whole manosphere is going. It's not cool. It's not cool. I'm telling you right now.
And what's crazy is
We're not gonna let it happen.
when you look at it, and especially recently, just because I love the
Mm-hmm.
discourse and the back and forth between it. Storm made a good point. A lot of these dating coaches, like the Myron Gaines and both the Derek Jackson and Deshaun,
Yeah.
whatever his
The
name was,
Kevin
and all them.
Samuel. Oh, don't get me started on the Kevin Samuel shit.
Like if
He's
you look
not your
at
savior.
a Myron Gaines right now, he
Mm-hmm.
promotes a certain lifestyle, but does not adhere to it himself. But you have
He's
people
not a married
showing.
man.
And that was the thing. He'll say that you need to make this amount of money. Okay, he lines up with that. You need to treat women this way. He aligns with that. And then you need to do all this to get to a certain point. What's the point of having a
Mm-hmm.
dating coach that is consistently single? What's the point of having a dating coach that's not married? What's the point of having, like, for me, I would not trust a nutritionist who does not have at least a physical appearance or, yeah, at least the
A
minimum of a
degree.
beyond a degree, but just at least the physical appearance of following what they promote.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, you can have a degree, but then to the same extent that how much are credentials really valid? There are people that botch stuff all the time. But to stay more on to what we're speaking about, why are y'all trusting putting your relationship advice and what you're willing to listen to in the hands of people that aren't where you want to be? And that's not to say like I'm someone who's not married, not to say that I don't have advice that I could give towards marriage, but it would not I don't feel that my opinion would supersede that of someone who's actually married. And I think that's where a lot of these guys, especially on the red pill that are on the influencer side, that are real grifters, they take advantage of that. And then the people that are falling for it, they're not listening or looking into the fact that it's like, I'm looking at this dude because I want to end up successful with a good woman, with a family, and do all this. Myron Gaines ain't got no family. For all we know, he don't have no kids. His co-partner, Fresh or whatever, almost had a kid with a girl that they hooked up with, a OnlyFans model or whatever she does, but and then did everything in his power to get that aborted. So these are people that people look up to, like him, the Nick Fuenteses of the world, and stuff like that. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a generation of misguided young men, and it's honestly scary.
Check this out. You want relationship advice, so you're paying a man to give you the advice that you're looking for. And then when you try and execute the lessons, and I'm saying that with air quotes, the lessons that he's giving you, and you're not succeeding, you got scammed.
Mm-hmm.
You got grifted.
Mm-hmm.
I
They don't see it
guarantee
that
you,
way.
I guarantee you a woman is not worried about how much you make. She's worried about are you a good man? Are you a good person? Are you going to treat me right? That's what she's worried about. And then we can get into, the semantics and whatnot of, what do you do for a living? This whole, what do you bring to the table?
I hate that
Man, yeah,
conversation.
yeah, y'all niggas love saying that shit. Y'all
Like
love saying that. What's an,
that kills me. Is just like, what do you bring to the table? It's like, for one, what size table are we even working on? Because if the idea of what do you bring to the table, for one, not everyone's working on the same size table. Not everyone is
mm-hmm,
bringing the same amount to the table. Because we can bring the same thing to the table doesn't mean it's the same proportion size. Because there's dudes that'll be like, yeah, I bring the fact that I can provide to the table. You can provide a six-figure salary. There's dudes out there that can provide seven figure. There's dudes out there that can provide an eight figure. So what we bring to the table is not always proportionate. So a lot of
mm-hmm,
times dudes, I think, overvalue how much what they bring to the table is. And to the degree that I know you and I view it, what you bring to the table as a man, it has to be greater than what we already think it is. Because I think as a man, intrinsically, we're supposed to already bring certain things to the table. And that does not
absolutely,
count as what you bring to the table. And a lot of
absolutely,
dudes are counting the things that you should technically not count, and they're attributing that and thinking that they bring a lot to the table when they really don't. A lot of times, these dudes that they like using that train of what they're bringing to the table is what you're already supposed to bring. It's like, what
Mm.
else are you doing?
What are your characteristics? You can make all the money you want. What's your relationship with your mother?
Thank you.
How do you treat her?
Like,
What's your relationship with your sisters?
are you okay
How
with
you work with them?
people making jokes about black women knowing that you came from one? You have black sisters, you have black cousins, you have black aunts, nieces, you have all these women in your family, yet you're quick to cast cast so much disparagement on black women as a whole. And the big thing for me, it'll be because they've had small interactions, not
Mm-hmm.
like an interact, of course, because no one could possibly have an interaction with every single black woman that exists. But they'll take their interactions that they've had from like middle school, college, high
Yeah.
school, elementary,
Yep.
and they turn that into this was so traumatic for me. This was so bad that I now view every black woman as such. Like there's so many times where they'll be like, yeah, you know, black women are this, they're ghetto, they do this, this, and that. And I'm like, and I don't see that. The women around me, granted, they're ones that didn't graduate from college, didn't graduate from barely graduated from high school, kids before, 18, kids after 18, did it the right way, did it the wrong way. All of them
Mm-hmm.
around me, none of them fit any of the stereotypes that you have about black women. You wouldn't even be able to tell who fits into the categories in which I described. So a lot of times people assign their worldview to the world. And I think it takes a little bit of self evaluation to remember, hey, just because this is all I see and know does not mean that that's what it is as a whole. And I think so many young men get caught up in that, especially since so many young men's opinions are driven off of social media, driven off
Mm-hmm.
of what they get from the people around them, whose opinions are driven off of social media and what they are given throughout different forms of medias. There are a multitude of ways that I feel have led to our current where we currently are as far as a culture, and then also how we as black men are viewing others as well.
Women, black women specifically, just like how we have to put on a mask to
Mhm.
go to work, they put on two different types of masks. They put on a mask for when they go to work and they take off, but when they clock out and they're out in the world, that's the second mask that they have to put on. They don't really become themselves until they come home. And the last thing that they need is a man asking them what's for dinner.
And they wonder why there are so many women that are opposed to the idea of a traditional life, in the sense that, so now, like, think about what you just said. Got to go through
Yep.
a whole day of work. Got to
Mm-hmm.
then still, while you're at work, you can't comfortably be black in a lot of spaces, let alone be comfortably be a black woman in certain spaces, especially when you're not the predominant uh group there.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times they're dealing with the fact that they're having to go to work. They're stuck in a capitalistic society that's ran by patriarchy. They're having to deal with the fact that they was it black women, I think, on the for every dollar that a white male makes, that a black woman makes closer to about 60% of that. And they just got
Cents compared to their dollar.
yeah, like I only said percent of that just because I don't have the actual amounts, decimal amounts in front of me. But it's sad and it's tiring. And I think it also leads into something that we haven't talked about, is this whole thing of our generation not wanting kids, not wanting marriage and all that, because women have to deal with a lot more when you think about it. Because for one, in our society, a woman is expected when they are with a man to become subservient. So that means you have to trust that this man can protect, that he can provide, that he can do so many things that you are technically not supposed to be doing for yourself, or you're not doing your job. And that societal pressure becomes a lot when you're having to pick a partner, when you're having to pick a mate, especially when they're not really in a position of power when it comes to even courting or choosing who they're with. Because men can be manipulative, men can be deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I always tell young men, like, you can't get mad when women play games, because this is all a game at the end of the day. It's treated
Because
like a
we've been
game.
playing it more. We've been playing it first. We played it first, and we playing it longer.
And when you can break down those barriers, that's when it allows for genuine back and forth, but it does take work. And I think a lot of what we see in this manosphere and this Red Bull shit is that there are just young men that may have been sold a bill of goods that don't understand that it takes work. It's not, I blame Disney for so much of this shit because Disney made us
You
think
don't
that
blame
everything
Tyler
is
Perry?
sunshine, man. I don't watch them, so I can't blame them. You would know, but I don't.
I've only seen like two, three of his movies, man. I'm not a fan. But these are the type of conversations that
Only
we
two or
plan on
three?
having.
I ain't letting you move off of that one. Only two or three?
Hey, man, what we not gonna do is
I ain't letting you move
claim
off of that. Nah, only two or
we
three.
are we are moving on. We are we are moving on.
I ain't letting this go, but I
Fine.
whatever. Whatever. You catch an attitude with me.
I'm not catching no attitude, bro. Promise I'm not catching no attitude. No.
In case y'all don't know, I have little brother syndrome.
He's I'm only older than Nick by 2 months.
No, old ass nigga.
That AARP magazine is coming for you too. Just two
Yeah,
months
two
later.
months. Yeah, 2 months later. Exactly. It'll get to your house first. So yeah, don't come
I'm
for
gonna make
me,
sure they
bitch.
send you two magazines.
You won't
They're
know
gonna
because you
send
don't
your
know
ass
my
two
address.
magazines.
You don't know my address, so you can't say nothing.
I know people.
I will sign up. I will sign you up right now.
Come on, man. There's
I
a way
will
to look
sign
you
you up
up.
right now for some stuff just to start sending it to you now.
Do not be petty. Do not be petty.
Chat,
These
should
are
I
the
be
type of
petty? I say chat like we
Absolutely
got
not.
live stream. Leave it in the
Absolutely
comments if I
not.
should be petty or not and sign Tristan up for some subscriptions that he doesn't want. I'm about to flood Joe email with random stuff like, did you want to hear about our new better newsletter?
No. Unsubscribe.
You know the unsubscribe button don't work.
Unsubscribe. Representative. Representative. I'm on the phone like representative. And it's like the AI chat. And it's like, what would you like to do? And it's like, I hate it when the AI, when I call a number, I'm expecting a representative. And I'm talking to this AI saying, what products are you looking for? I didn't say products. Representative.
You sound like the people I deal with
Representative.
at work.
Yeah. I encourage you to support this show, y'all. Rate the show, write a review, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Show some love. It's helpful in getting new people to discover us. And as always, there's a seat for you at this porch. This is the Porch Light Theory, episode 1. Thank you for joining us as the pilot. We're looking forward to doing more. This is going to be a fun journey, so come along with us. Episode 2 is on the way. Peace.